Hello, I am extremely excited to be joined on the latest edition of Lunchtime Learnings with a serial award winner. No, the number one agent in the United Kingdom, according to the Property Academy and EA Masters, Michelle Gallagher from JDG Estate Agents in Lancaster, in Morecambe, who has just wiped the board with a phenomenal achievement of winning the number one in the whole of the UK. So congratulations, that is absolutely amazing. So I know you got a second prize as well, which was COVID, which wasn't good. So I hope you're fully recovered from that. You look amazing. You look really, really well. So it's been 2 weeks now, since 3 weeks since.
It has.
So have you come down?
Well, it was a very strange one because Josh and I went from pretty much elation to sort of like misery, in the space of about 48 hours. But as people pointed out to us, we have the award for a year, so don't worry about these 2 weeks. You know, you can get your planning done and enjoy it as the year goes on.
Brilliant. Well, look, congratulations to John, Josh, and the whole team there. I think it's an absolutely phenomenal achievement. I've had the privilege of watching you grow over the last 5, 6 years, and to watch your journey, and to see how you've grown and to see your success, is just absolutely phenomenal. And I think for anybody listening or watching this, there's a massive learning curve from Michelle. And we were just talking off air because Michelle was kind enough to share her early videos with me, and where she is today. And the difference is huge. And if anybody watching this or listening this wants to see the difference, please get in contact with me, send me a direct message. And Michelle's been kind enough to say that I can send them out. And as Michelle kindly said, every winner was once a beginner. So we all had to start somewhere. But one of the things I want to discuss with you today is how you implement and action stuff, because you have been a superb implementer, a superb action taker, and also you've surrounded yourself with people to help you to get to where you want to be. So, I know
Yeah.
you've used Paul Long, I know you used other people as well, Chris Watkin, um,
Yourself.
that have helped you. Myself, I'm just too modest to mention me. Um, and other people. So can we start with implementation and action? Because, that's one of the things that I see that agents find really, really challenging. So, firstly, did you have a plan that you decided one day you wake up and we're going to be number one in the UK, and that you decided to action it? And I'll shut up now and let you speak.
Okay. The answer, I suppose, is yes. So, first of all, everybody's got to realize that you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And that's not just the likes of yourself and Paul Long, but also your team. And one of the things that John and I are very, very lucky to have is a great team. Now, I'm not saying they're perfect, they all need training and they all need help and things and assistance in times, but we've all got the same belief. So if you look at Josh that came to London with me, I have very little to do with the lettings department. That is my husband, John, and Josh. I just help out where needed with the occasional valuation, but to be honest with you, even John does most of those now. Cassie in the office has been with me 15 years. Cassie is somebody who I know for phone say, can you do this? I know it's done. I don't have to double check. I don't have to worry about anything. She's very much office based, but she is a bigger support than I could even describe. So, for instance, I don't know if you saw my Facebook post of the day where we crowned her a Viking princess. So, in the office, we've always had little silly things that we do every so often, and princess status is one of ours. But we now have a Viking crown, and very quietly, Cassie, John was on other appointments, so she said, I'll look after the sale negotiations. Towards the end of the day, she said, just to let you know, I've got all those 5 agreed.
Amazing.
But she just said it in the normal Cassie, normal, quiet way. So before we do anything, I want to give them recognition because I'm very much, look at me, as John will always say I like my 5 minutes of fame, but I do have a very good team who quietly in the background, actually do their thing, which helps the likes of me and Josh, who our sort of, look at me people, do what we do.
I think that's lovely. And I agree, I think all your colleagues deserve a recognition for what they've done and what they've achieved. And it is building that culture and that team where everybody wants to come to work, they all enjoy it, and they all come together to give the best outcomes, which is fantastic. So
It is.
coming back to action and implementation then, and learning from people, and let's talk about Andrea Morgan as well, or Andrea
Yes.
Bowler, with her blogs as well. Because what I loved is one of the things that you did was you still write incredible blogs, but you now made them into vlogs as well, and you
Thank
add
you
so much
guys.
and you add so much value to all your sellers and all your landlords with all those videos as well. I think it's exceptional. So
Thank you. Well, I mean, my sort of, I suppose, blogging journey began when I used to write articles in the local newspaper to go along with the normal property adverts. And that was very much John's inspiration, in the fact that John said our adverts are really boring. And we were trying to find ways to retain people to actually just look at the page longer. So John had the idea of what he wanted. Again, I was the implementer. Off I went, wrote my blog. One side would be Andurance sort of type, with the selling tips. The other side would be very much a market update report. Having met Andrea on Twitter, Andrea said, "Why don't you start blogging?" I said, "What is a blog?" And Andrea basically told me to put my articles onto the website and just reformat them slightly. As the years have gone by, the blog has turned to be recycled into a vlog, and then to be recycled again into an e-guide. So that way, then I've got various ways of putting the content out to people, depending as to the type of person that I'm looking towards. Josh was the first implementer of video in the office. I kind of tried to swerve that one. But after 6 months of Josh starting, that was like buy-to-let deals and things, I then started on the sales side, with a bit of coaxing from both Josh and John.
okay,
And then, of course,
so
once you start,
you can't stop. So you've ended up, as a result of all the videos, with helping a very big Facebook group in Lancaster.
yes. So basically, I was invited there just over 12 months ago to be an admin in that Facebook group, do some videos, marketing reports to help support other business. We say that was 12 months ago, and we had just over 300 members. We're now over 10,300.
Wow. So can you share some tips then of how you managed to increase that from 300 to 10,000?
The first bit was actually building the group with posts that added value, letting people know what the city centre actually had to offer. And again, I'm only part of that group. There's actually 4 of us. I think it would be impossible for any agent to do it on their own. I know I'd looked at it previously, and as I say, by chance, somebody else had a similar vision, but asked me to come on board with them. That, as I say, we all offer different elements of things. So one person in the group, for instance, shares other business posts into that group, but it's very focused on supporting local business with a high street presence. So we don't do things like home workers, the candle shop, the Avon supply, or the people that supply all these wee fit drinks and things. It really is about the city centre. And surrounding villages if they've got a high street presence. So I do some video content in there talking to local businesses. We will have things in the week, so like tag your favourite restaurant, or do you prefer pizza or burger? Just things to engage, or what's your favourite type of coffee? And if there's any sort of national days where it's celebrate a burger, celebrate a cappuccino. Again, we'll say like tag your favourite coffee shop. And it's just really very simple things, but just to keep on pushing the city centre. And other businesses appreciate it because they say they've been busier as an effect, and they were feeling very much lost when we came out of COVID. And they saw it as a platform where other businesses were talking to each other. And of course, then they've all invited their Facebook people from their pages to join that group.
Yeah.
And every so often, we just simply ask people to invite one person each.
Okay. Fantastic. Brilliant tips there. So let's come back to the action and implementation. So going from somebody who really didn't like to do video, who now can't be stopped, for people that are watching this and, feel very uncomfortable, because I have these conversations the whole time. I don't want to do videos. I don't want to do videos. How did you overcome that and make it work for you?
Probably the first thing was that I did see Josh was getting engagement from it. I was pushed by Chris in the fact you need to be an early adopter, so that way then you're leading the way. The fear for me was twofold. One was appearance, because I was the spotty kid. And I know I'm long over that, but you've still got it in your head of how you look in a camera. And the second thing is that I do know I sometimes talk too fast and stutter. But you've just got to practice a little bit, and then you've got to hit publish. And I thought, well, the more I do, the easier it gets. And when I started doing the market update videos, which are the ones that I actually really don't like doing, because on selling tips, I don't need a script. I can just come out with it. On a market update, I've got a board, I've got facts, I've got figures I'm dealing with. That actually gets so much attention, so many clicks. I have a written version, so I can see if they're watching the video version or they're clicking the link. And I do know that actually generates business.
Okay, so a couple of things there. One, you're tracking and measuring it to see where they're
Yes.
coming from, which is great. So there's definitely a lesson there. And secondly, for people watching this with market updates, what's the best way for them to prepare, and where would they get the information to do this? And how frequently should it be done? Weekly, monthly?
I do mine monthly, but sometimes in between I'll use Canva just to create little tips or little posts on a market update, a mini one. But my big one's monthly. I get the data from Rightmove Plus, it's freely available, and I make it clear we're talking about the current market. So it's not what's completed, it's actually what's happening right now with the number of new listings, the number of sales, the number of reductions, daily property views on Rightmove. And I always compare back to 2019 and 2020, because obviously last year was a bit strange.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Thank you. So also your big differentiator has been virtual appraisals,
Yes.
which has worked exceptionally well. And in fact, you've got one of the highest conversion rates that I know in the country by a long, long way. So, what made you decide to, well, we know COVID made you decide
Yes.
to go down that way, but what's made you decide to carry it on when the majority of agents are doing face to face? And I know you're still doing some face to face.
Okay. So the total honest answer is probably John. When we were allowed to go back out, I think I possibly may have done, had John not once said, let's just be careful here before we go rushing out. Because obviously COVID, at this point, the shops weren't open and it was just the estate agents being released. So there was that genuine concern of people's health. And then also when we actually analysed the figures, I was actually getting a better conversion rate via video than face-to-face anyway. So we thought we would continue it, see what kickback we actually got from people. And given the fact that so many people are still working from home, they're now used to Zoom calls, me and you chatting like this, it's worked. There's additional benefits. I don't get stuck in traffic. I don't get wet when I've got to park my car down the street and walk and look like a drowned rat when I get there. And certainly during the time I was obviously isolating with COVID, I could continue to work as normal.
Perfect. So, how has your process changed then from going on a, I suppose, face to face to virtual?
I'm going to say it hasn't that much. So I still do the normal pre-call, the pre-email send. So we, through Akaboom. And then on the actual call itself, it's a matter of you chat to them just as if you'd knocked on the door, introduce yourself, sit down in the front lounge, have a little chat about their moving plans, of which I know a little bit about through the question techniques of my colleagues. And then I ask them to show me around, except this time I'm down a video. And we walk around and we chat just like we normally would do. And then we sit back down and we talk about their house, my thoughts, their thoughts, and then the best way to market it. And along the way, I share my screen with them. So I've got things like the title deeds and things. I've got the Google Street View and the information, all the research that I've done prior to the call.
And that's all prepared already for when you share the screen. So, you
Yeah.
know, it it moves smoothly.
Yes, everything's prepared the day before, at least.
Yeah. And so if I was a seller, to be honest, I'm already impressed by what you've said. Title deeds, okay, street view. So you're demonstrating to me that you've done your preparation. You're talking about, you know about the title, you know about the street. You're giving them the recent sales as well, and you're building that rapport. How do you find, going from the virtual appraisal to face? Is it easy to build that rapport virtually?
I'm going to say easier. I've discussed this with John as to how things are. And what I find is on a video call, their attention is very much laser focused at the screen. Where in a house, you start chatting to them, the doorbell goes, or the dog does something, or the kid wants something. So they've got to nip out to go and get the kid a pack of crisps or whatever. If they're doing that with you in a video call, one, you tend to find they don't. But on the occasion they do, they take you with you to the door to meet the postman, sign the delivery, and bring you back and say, sorry about that. So I would say they're actually more focused.
Okay. And you find you're building a better relationship as well as a result of that.
Yes, in a very, very strange way. Um, it's hard to describe because I couldn't imagine it myself when I first started out. But you just sit and chat like we are doing now. But I very much have a process that I do follow with how I show them my research, and I let them know, I'll send it across them after the call. But the pre-call's done, then there's the middle bits of the presentation, and then there's the post-valuation.
And this has
And
just
there's
come to me, and I don't know whether it's something that you do, but this is obviously being recorded now. Would you actually record the virtual appraisal to then send to them so they can listen back to it? And if there's anything there that actually at the time, you know, didn't didn't ring with them or they weren't sure about, they can go back and listen.
I've never actually thought about that. I don't know how you could do that on WhatsApp, to be honest. Worth investigating. I mean, I
Okay.
do send them in there afterwards a video summary.
Yeah.
So that goes as part of my post follow-up process. And again, with that, I mean, every single valuation, I'm talking to a video straight afterwards.
Okay. So how soon after the virtual appraisal would they get that video?
Ideally, if I'm not on back-to-back appointments, when the phone's gone down within 15 minutes. And that depends if I've taken my full hour slot or if it's been a 2-bed terrace, it might be 40 minutes. If I'm on back-to-back appointments, I will tell them that it'll come through later on this afternoon or early this evening, but always same day. That's
Okay, and
non-negotiable.
you talked about track and measure. So
Yes,
again, you can see when people are opening it, you can get a good time as to, look, they've looked on the marketing page 5 times, they've looked on the pricing strategy 5 times or whatever it is. It's a good time to then give them a call
yes,
and to chat with them.
yes. And then
So
in
it's now,
between,
go on, sorry, Michelle.
I was going to say in between, before the call today, I'm then sending past people that have done nothing again a follow-up. But then I use a different form of market update, which is data love prepared, that actually shows how the property price have changed in their area, just so they've got something to read in addition to my email that will hold their interest.
Okay. So you're very process driven. That's the lesson I'm learning. Okay. You've got a process. So you talked about the pre-call,
Yes,
the academy, how you actually go round, so sit down with them, then you go round with them, then you sit down with them and have a chat. You're going through your screen, you're going through everything you've presented, and you've come up with a follow-up process as well. Okay, so I think there's a massive lesson there for everybody. It doesn't have to be virtual appraisals, but also on the actual appraisal, how good are your processes? Have you got your processes in place, or are you just turning up thinking, oh, I'm just going to wing it? Because sadly there are a few agents that still do it. Okay, so brilliant. So thanks for sharing all of that.
you're welcome.
So from your point of view, why do you think you're the number one agent in the UK?
Oh, that's a difficult one. I mean, when I started in Birmingham with you and Matt Wood was in our group and he was number one agent that year, lettings came in, got a bronze in the top 20% and sales didn't get anything. And the aim each year, using your term of marginal gains, was to let's get sales into a level. And what's followed on each year is that we got marginally better. So the following year, sales and lettings were both ranked. Last year, sales got gold, lettings got silver. The year before, lettings got gold, sales got silver. So it was kind of, well, we've both had a gold, we've both had a silver, and can we try and get both teams to actually get a gold? And all we've done is, I mean, if you ask John will say an award isn't important to him. The only people he wants to have is doing well would be his parents, who are sadly no longer here, or now his accountant, So it's like, okay, ha, ha, ha. But me and Josh, we want our little trophy and our little certificate and things because we're different. That's, motivates us. So what John did for more as a training exercise really was the mystery shop, what questions are actually asked, to use that as a basis of making sure that our team are actually answering the emails correctly or the telephone calls correctly. When you get the Rightmove report through, that actually gives you your little red, orange, green as to where you fall. Have we had more than 5 photos? Have we had the floor plans? Have we done this? And we knew when that came through early in the year, because we asked to see a copy, we knew we'd done very, very well there in both departments. This year they added marketing into things, which was a surprise because none of us knew marketing in terms of website and social media would be included. But equally, going back to when we came to see Troy Malcolm in Birmingham, when it was a matter of, I picked Google as to how I wanted the company to look like. And I know a lot of people picked Mercedes because they wanted the posh houses. The website then became very much with a mind focus of how can we be more Google? And Josh came up with a plan. It was an annual plan. He sent it to me. I was in Miami on holiday to have a look at. He came up with an annual plan of what we were going to do to be more Google. And that was the area focuses, the area guides, videos in the area, And that's what we did. We went to like local schools, live in LA14, and you've got 4 fantastic schools with the ratings. And we stood outside different schools with our microphone saying, this is. And they just all became mini pieces of content that became filed under LA14. And we did the same for all our postcodes. But as I say, we had that year plan that Josh drew up, sent it to me on holiday to say, what do you think? And I just thought, that's a major job ticked off. Thank you very much. But then he said to me, now I've come up with a plan. How do we implement it? And that was then when I got back involved with, okay, well, let's schedule this and let's book that in and let's do that there. And luckily that obviously helped towards where we are now.
Brilliant. Well, look, I know you're really busy, and I know you've given up your time because I know you've got a few more market appraisals lined up today. So I'm going to say thank you. I'm really grateful for your time. I know in this 25 minutes or so, you have shared loads of amazing insights and tips as to why you're the fully deserved #1 agency in the UK. Not just you, John, Josh, Cassie, and every single person that's working at JDG. So really grateful for your time. Thank you for sharing some of your secrets. But here's the important part. Michelle's gone out and taken action and implemented it. And there's a massive, massive lesson there. Michelle's also surrounded herself with other people in the industry who can help her get to where her and the team at JDG wanted to do. So, I think fair play to you because you've actually taken action, you've implemented it, and you've seen such incredible results, and more
Thank you.
importantly, serve all your customers with what you're doing and the value you add to your customers and also to Lancaster and to people in the industry by helping them with all your tips here. I think it's is exceptional, and I, for one, am incredibly grateful. So thank you, and thank everybody for watching, and well done.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody else that's also helped me along the journey. I remember you once saying in Birmingham, for every idea somebody gives you, you should always give 2 back in return. And I've always stuck to that. So when somebody messages for help, one day I'll want help from somebody still.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Well, on that note, thank you so much. Thanks for your time. We got there in the end after all the technical difficulties at the start, and I even managed to resolve it, which is more of a miracle. So thanks a lot. Have a great weekend, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching this. Thanks very much. Bye, Michelle.
Thanks. Bye-bye.